Welcome to a deep dive into dreams. I know you're curious about dreaming, and you even sent in an 8-minute English podcast episode on the topic.
Dreams are fascinating.
Yeah, they are. I have to admit, I've been thinking about it a lot, especially after that dream I had last night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was riding a giant cat through the clouds.
Wow.
Dreams can be so strange.
Yeah, they certainly can be. But, even though dreams can feel so random, there's actually a lot of research going on right now to understand why we dream.
So are scientists getting any closer to figuring out why our brains put on these bizarre shows every night?
Well, let's start with one of the leading theories, that 8-minute English podcast episode you sent in.
Mm-hmm.
Or it actually mentioned some research about how dreams might help our brains organize information and store memories.
So you're saying it's not just our imaginations running wild while we stop it?
Not exactly. Scientists think that when we're sleeping, our brains are replaying the things we did that day and strengthening the connections in our brain that are tied to the important information and weakening the other ones.
Huh.
This process is sometimes called synaptic pruning.
Synaptic pruning.
Yeah, and it could be how our brains decide what we remember and what we forget.
So it's like our brains are doing a big cleanup,
Exactly.
getting rid of mental junk to make space for new stuff.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
Okay, but that podcast episode you mentioned, it also called Dreams, like a therapy session for the brain.
Right.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so another interesting theory is that dreams help us process emotions,
Okay.
especially difficult ones.
Mm-hmm.
The ones we might try to avoid when we're awake.
Ah, I see.
In dreams, our brains can create a safe space to kind of explore those feelings without the rules of logic or reason.
So, like, if I keep having this dream where I'm being chased, even though I'm not in any real danger.
Right. It could be your brain's way of dealing with anxiety or feeling overwhelmed.
Mm.
Yeah, think about how you feel in that dream. Are you scared? Frustrated? Angry?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those feelings could give you clues about what your dream is trying to work through.
Now that you mention it, I have always been curious about recurring dreams.
Mm-hmm.
In your notes, you mentioned you have a recurring dream about being late for an exam.
Oh, yeah.
Is it possible that's connected to, the pressure you've been under lately with those work deadlines coming up?
It's definitely possible.
Really?
Yeah, our dreams often show us our current worries and anxieties, even if we don't realize it right away.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Well, since we're talking about stressful dreams, what about nightmares?
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all had those scary dreams that leave us feeling freaked out even after we wake up.
Yeah, nightmares can definitely be unpleasant, but they often come from stress, fear, or trauma.
Okay.
They seem to be our brain's way of trying to process difficult experiences.
Even if it's in a scary way.
Right.
So, if I'm going through a super stressful time in my life, am I more likely to have nightmares?
You could be, your brain's always working, even when you're asleep. And when you're stressed, those anxieties can find their way into your dreams.
Makes sense, but not all dreams are scary or stressful, right?
Right.
What about those totally nonsensical dreams? The ones where you're flying with purple elephants or having tea with a talking cat?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Do those dreams mean anything?
That's a great question. And it leads to something important about dreams. We don't need to analyze every dream for some deep meaning.
Oh,
Sometimes our brains are just playing around,
okay.
combining random bits of information and experiences in a way that seems to make sense when we're asleep, but might seem totally crazy when we wake up.
So if I dream about, let's say, eating a giant pizza on the moon while wearing a swimsuit,
Uh-huh.
it might just be my brain having a little fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be a profound psychological revelation.
I like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to just enjoy how absurd dreams can be.
I appreciate that reminder, but the source material also mentioned dreams as problem solvers, like that famous story about Dmitri Mendeleev and how he supposedly figured out the periodic table in a dream.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic example of how dreams can help with creative solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Mendeleev apparently struggled for years to organize the elements, and then boom, the solution came to him in a dream.
Wow, so it's like our dreams can tap into our creativity and give us insights that we wouldn't have when we're awake.
Exactly. It's like having this untapped wellspring of creativity inside our own minds.
That's incredible. We've covered so much, but it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Absolutely. There's still so much we don't know about dreams, and there are new discoveries happening all the time.
I have to say, this deep dive has definitely made me want to pay more attention to my dreams.
Me too.
And speaking of paying attention, there's another fascinating part of dreaming we haven't talked about yet. Lucid dreaming.
Oh, yeah, lucid dreaming. That's when things get really interesting.
I'm definitely intrigued. But before we get into that, I think it's time to take a little break and let all this information sink in. We'll be back soon to explore the world of lucid dreaming and even more fascinating stuff about the science of dreams. Stay tuned.
See you soon.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how creative dreams can be. It really is amazing to think our brains might be solving problems while we're asleep, even ones we haven't even thought about consciously.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing.
You mentioned lucid dreaming before the break.
Right.
Have you ever had a lucid dream yourself?
Yeah, I have a few times. It's a really unique experience.
I bet.
It can even be a little disorienting. Imagine suddenly realizing in the middle of a dream that you're dreaming.
Whoa, that must be so strange.
Yeah, it is.
In my notes, you mentioned that lucid dreaming is more than just knowing you're dreaming. You can actually control the dream.
Yeah, that's the idea. You can often steer the dream in a certain direction.
Wow.
Some people use it to face their fears, the ones they have in real life.
Oh,
Others use it to explore creative ideas or even practice skills.
so it's kind of like having a virtual reality set up in your brain.
That's a great way to put it.
Are there ways to make yourself have a lucid dream?
There are techniques people use to try to make it happen.
Okay.
They involve things like keeping a dream journal, doing reality checks during the day, and setting intentions before you go to sleep.
Huh. Interesting. For a long time, I just thought sleep was about getting enough hours.
Right.
But we were talking about stages of sleep before the break. Can you remind me about those?
Yeah, sleep isn't just one long snooze. It cycles through different stages, and each one plays a part in restoring our bodies and minds.
So it's not just about how much sleep you get.
Right.
It's about the quality of sleep, too.
Exactly. And when we talk about dreaming, the stage you want to remember is called REM sleep.
REM sleep.
It stands for rapid eye movement.
Oh, right.
It's when our brains are super active, our eyes are darting around under our eyelids, and we're most likely to have those vivid dreams.
That's probably why I wake up sometimes and feel like my eyes are exhausted.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a common feeling after REM sleep.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. Our muscles are actually temporarily paralyzed during REM sleep, too. Yeah, which thankfully stops us from acting out our dreams.
Wow, that's both amazing and a little creepy.
I know, right?
Why is REM sleep so important for dreaming, though?
Well, scientists believe REM sleep helps a lot with things like memory consolidation, emotional processing, and even creativity.
Oh, wow.
It's like the brain's overnight workshop, where it sorts through all the experiences, emotions, and information from the day,
Okay.
and then turns them into the stories we see in our dreams.
So it's not just about storing memories, it's also about processing everything and maybe even sparking new ideas.
Exactly. And the really cool thing is that the length of those REM cycles changes during the night.
Really?
Yeah, as the night goes on, we tend to have longer and more intense REM cycles.
So those crazy, vivid dreams I sometimes have right before I wake up, those are probably happening during those longer REM cycles.
Yeah, very likely. And here's a tip. If you want to remember your dreams more, try waking up naturally without an alarm, during or just after a REM cycle.
That's a great tip before this deep dive. I just thought dreams were like random images flashing through my mind.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to see that it's a much more complex process, maybe even important for our mental and emotional well-being.
Absolutely. The more we learn about sleep and dreams, the more we see how incredible our brains are even when we're asleep.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. But speaking of mysteries, I know you're curious about something else. Can dreams predict the future?
Yes. That's a question I've always been fascinated by. I've heard so many stories about people having dreams that later came true. Is there any science behind that, or is it just coincidence?
Well, that's a question that's intrigued people forever. And while there's no scientific proof that dreams are like crystal balls, there are a few things to consider.
So no magical fortune telling then.
Right.
But what about those times when someone dreams about something and then it actually happens later? How do you explain that?
Well, sometimes our dreams can show our anxieties or subconscious fears. Let's say you're worried about someone you love getting sick.
Okay.
You might have a dream about them being sick if they actually do get sick later on. It might feel like that dream was predicting the future.
So it's not really predicting the future. It's more like our subconscious is picking up on clues or worries that we might not even realize we have.
Exactly. Our brains are always processing information, even if we're not aware of it. Dreams might be a way for our subconscious to express those thoughts or worries.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about those dreams that seem totally unrelated to any fears or thoughts and then they still come true?
Those are the ones that keep the mystery of dreams alive.
Right.
Some people believe in the idea of a collective unconscious, like a shared pool of knowledge and experiences that we all tap into.
So you're saying our dreams could be accessing information that goes beyond our own personal experiences?
It's a fascinating idea, and while there's no scientific evidence to back it up, it's definitely something to think about.
That's pretty profound.
Yeah, maybe our dreams are more connected than we realize.
Wow. This deep dive has really opened my mind to new possibilities. The more we learn about dreams, the more questions we have.
That's what makes exploring science so amazing. Every answer usually leads to even more questions.
It's true.
It keeps pushing us to dive deeper into the mysteries of the human mind.
Well, I think it's time to wake up from this dream exploration. But before we go, I'd love to hear any final thoughts you have on this topic.
I think the most important thing to remember is that dreams are a window into our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
They can help us understand our emotions, fears, and hopes. Pay attention to your dreams, explore what the symbols might mean, and don't be afraid to embrace the mystery of it all.
That's great advice. So just to wrap up, dreams can help us organize information, process emotions, maybe even come up with creative solutions, and who knows, maybe even tap into something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, not all dreams have to have a clear meaning. Sometimes they're just our brains being playful.
Right.
The key is to listen to what your dreams are trying to tell you.
Well, Dream Explorers, it's time to wake up from this deep dive. But before we go, we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. Could paying closer attention to your dreams help you unlock some hidden creativity or solutions you haven't thought of before?
Sweet dreams.
It's amazing to think about all this stuff about dreams and how powerful our minds are even when we're asleep.
It really is.
We've talked about how dreams can help with memory and emotions and even maybe spark some creativity.
Right.
But I'm curious about those times when dreams kind of leave us feeling a little uneasy or unsettled. Those dreams that make you wake up and think, what was that all about?
Oh, yeah. I think we all have those dreams every now and then.
Yeah.
The ones that stick with you even after you're awake.
Yeah, exactly. Those ones.
Sometimes those dreams can actually be helpful.
Helpful.
Yeah, in understanding ourselves better.
Is there something specific we should be looking for in those kinds of dreams?
Well, think of those dreams as your subconscious trying to talk to you.
Okay.
Pay attention to how you felt in the dream. Were you anxious,
Mm.
confused, scared? Those feelings can give you clues about what your subconscious might be dealing with.
So even if a dream doesn't have like a clear, obvious meaning, the feelings we have in the dream can still be important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dreams work on a symbolic level, and the emotions we feel are often more important than what's actually happening in the dream.
Okay.
Think of it like your subconscious is speaking to you in the language of emotions and symbols.
So it's like our own personal dream dictionary we have to figure out.
Yeah, in a way. And sometimes those unsettling dreams might be pointing to something you're avoiding or a situation you need to deal with in your waking life.
Ah, I see.
It could be a relationship issue, a problem at work, or even just a feeling you haven't processed yet.
So a dream that feels weird or disturbing could actually be a sign that we need to pay more attention to something in our real life.
It's definitely possible. Don't just dismiss those dreams as just random or strange. They might be trying to tell you something important.
That's really insightful. I know a lot of people are interested in interpreting their dreams. Do you have any tips on how someone could start understanding what their dreams are saying?
The most important thing is to just start paying attention. Keep a dream journal by your bed and write down everything you can remember as soon as you wake up.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't make sense right away, just write it down. You might start to see patterns or symbols that pop up again and again.
That's a great tip. What about this idea that dreams can show us our shadow selves? The parts of ourselves that we might not want to see or admit to.
That's an interesting idea, and it's something that psychologists and philosophers have talked about for a long time. There's a belief that our dreams can sometimes reveal parts of ourselves that we push down or deny when we're awake.
So a dream could be a way of facing those hidden parts of ourselves, even the ones we might not like.
Yeah, it's possible. Think of it as a chance to grow and learn more about yourself. Sometimes facing those shadow parts, even in our dreams, can help us understand ourselves better.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. It's clear that we still have a lot to learn about dreams.
Definitely.
But I'm starting to see them not just as random nighttime shows, but as a way to learn more about ourselves and our minds.
I agree. Dreams are a window into our inner world. and we should pay attention to them.
Well, I think it's time to wake up from this deep dive into the world of dreams we've explored so much, from the science behind why we dream to the possibility that they can help us solve problems, process emotions, and even give us a glimpse into our hidden selves.
Right.
It's clear there's still so much to uncover, but hopefully this deep dive has given you some new insights and a deeper appreciation for the amazing power and mystery of dreams.
Sweet dreams.